What's up, guys? Welcome back to the ranch. All right, ranchers, it's June 6th, and today we're going to talk about how to kill a tree. We're going to take this old sugar maple and we're going to kill it. I planted a nice blackberry bush here below the base of this tree, but the canopy from this tree is just casting too much of a shadow and it needs to be taken out. This closed canopy is doing nothing for that blackberry bush as well as all the possible deer browse down below. So it was time to say goodbye to this tree and kill it. I'm hugging it for you just to give you an idea of how big it was. I'm taking my chainsaw and we're going to first step and girdle it. And I know what you're saying, why not just cut the whole tree down then? Well, this is a really old sugar maple and it's well past its timber values, so the loggers don't want it in the area. And honestly, it's so big and probably rotten in the center because it's so old, it could lead to a bad fell and a very dangerous situation if the tree breaks off and falls out of control. So I'm opting to girdle it instead. Girdling will allow this tree to die upright and provide a little bit of housing for some birds and bugs, as well as some of the smaller critters like squirrels and turkeys to roost in. The tree will slowly die, decay, and fall in a safe manner over time. But girdling like this will allow the foliage and leaves to fall off immediately and start to get some of that light down to the forest floor and allow for my blackberry bush to grow, as well as some of the better forbs and deer browse in the area. What I'm doing with my chainsaw is quite straightforward. I'm cutting two very shallow cuts with my chainsaw to make two rings about 6 inches apart from each other around the whole tree. What this does is it cuts off the tree's vasculature to provide energy from the ground to the top of the tree, allowing it to grow and leaf out. This essentially strangles the tree and will kill it over time. The cuts I'm making do not have to be deep, just a little bit past the bark and into the vasculature or the cambium layer of the tree. Optimally, you want to come around the tree and make two perfect connecting cuts. Being that I'm not a professional, just a super enthusiast, my cuts didn't quite line up, but I did make two full circles around the tree with definite deep enough cuts, and that should do the trick. I'm going to zoom in and show you those cuts. Take a look at those cuts. They are not that deep, maybe about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch around the whole tree, just enough to get that tree not to have a vasculature of food and water and nutrients going up and down the tree's vasculature system. With a cut like this, the tree should die on its own because you've cut it off completely from its nutrients and supplies. But we're going to go a step further and we're going to put some herbicide in there to really make sure the tree is dead. When using herbicides and chemicals, always make sure you use some safety gear, masks, gloves, protective eye gear, just to make sure you don't get this on you. Here's a last look at that canopy. So what I'm doing is I'm going to walk around the tree and I'm going to spray a nice little layer of herbicide into the cuts I made around the whole tree in those two rings. Just a little bit, you don't need too much. What I'm spraying is a combination of concentrated glyphosate, 41% glyphosate that you can get at a lot of the big box stores, and a little bit of food coloring just to make it blue so I could see that I sprayed and killed this tree and didn't miss any spots. I'm really just going around, gently spraying into my cuts, kind of blowing out some of the sawdust while I'm doing it. And this will get into the tree and go down into the root system and kill the tree at its base and core in the roots. I bought the glyphosate concentrate from Amazon and will include some affiliate links in the video description if you just want to buy it directly from Amazon and from my channel. This technique of girdling and spraying herbicide into the girdle is a surefire way to kill any tree. With smaller trees, you could do a process called Hack and Squirt by hitting it with a small hatchet and spraying the same type of herbicides into a small hatchet wound of the tree, and that also does the trick. But with a large tree like this, I really want to make sure it's dead, put a big ring around it, and get some herbicide into the tree's vasculature and core. And just like that, a couple of weeks later, dead.